And it comes in threes, too, you know. Thomas Miller, hi, TGI Friday, especially TGI Friday on the Fun Astrology podcast. Friday, June 9th, and yeah, so now I'm hearing people's internet and infrastructure is going out. I heard it 3 times yesterday. Well, if you didn't catch yesterday's podcast, please go back and listen to that because it sets the stage of the platform that we're going to spring into for today. Let's talk about the couple of things we have going on over our heads, the exact aspects today. The moon enters Pisces 6:14 this morning. For a lot of you, that will have already happened. Eastern time, of course, as always, and then this afternoon at 5:14 p.m., Venus, down there with Mars in one of those points we talked about yesterday, is going to be sextiling Neptune. Typically, I would say, ooh la la, some juicy, good internal energy around that. But today, I don't know. Let's look at the positive side. So that has a very inner Venus connection with our spiritual self, Neptune, connecting with that heart, the love piece of us, also in a very nice, healthy, balanced way. Now, let's shake the apple cart. Now, remember, this is a sextile, so it should be a positive aspect. Maybe it could even bring some of that internal peace and calm to this whole situation for today. Let's get through the rest of the weekend, and then we'll come back and tie it all together. Tomorrow, so early, at 3 o'clock in the morning, the Sun sextiles Chiron. Sun in Gemini, Chiron in Aries. Now, with the big Grand Cross, or the 4 squares that we talked about yesterday, we already have the nodes of the moon there, so our karmic past, our soul's journey is already being spotlighted, and now we're bringing in the wounded healer. It is a sextile, but it is Chiron. So wounds could flare, or wounds could be in a light of what you could do to move something forward in a positive way. Let's flip the coin and see both sides. Then Sunday's the big day. That's when Pluto moves back into Capricorn. That happens early in the morning at 5:45 in the morning. And 45 minutes later, Mercury grabs the wheel, trining Pluto at the door as it moves back home into Gemini. Then at 9:20 Sunday morning, the moon enters Aries, so brings our Piscean weekend to an end. Do your kumbayas on Saturday this weekend and get stuff done on Sunday. And then the last aspect is one that is part of our Grand Cross, and that is that at 11:39 in the morning Sunday, so all of this happens before noon on Sunday, Venus squares Jupiter directly. While we're still on the technicals of what's going on, one other thing that's an interesting observation. So remember, Pluto is standing at the door of every sign change. Pluto just re-entered Capricorn. What is a void of course? It's the moon's last aspect before it changes signs. Well, Pluto's right there. The last aspect is going to be a Pluto aspect. So between now and the end of the month, all the voids of course are less than an hour. In fact, the one on Sunday is 0 hours, 0 minutes. It's exactly at the same time. If you look at the list, it starts to grow. It's in the Honeycomb Almanac. If you have one, you can see it. 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 10 minutes. And then finally, by the end of the month, or the first week of July, we will have a 3-hour void of course. Just a little technical note that's a fun observation. That means that the voids of course in the next couple of weeks are going to be really small. Got any horary questions? You won't have that consideration for judgment to deal with. So the big thing is Pluto going back into Capricorn. A lot of these old structures might be shaken again. For you and I, if we have anything that we're holding on to, between now and October, it would be a really great time to roll up your sleeves and work through it. When Pluto turns direct again in October, it will not be the last time that it comes back into Capricorn. It does it again next year. But this is the biggest. So now would be the time to really break the bread of these things that are still Capricornian, old, stodgy, stale corners of your life. Clean them out, because when Pluto enters Aquarius, we want the fresh and new and invigorating and revolutionary to have free space. Don't be dragging Capricorn's baggage into Aquarius's transit. Now, if this has been a week of struggle for you, whatever area of your life, first of all, big hug. I love you, and let that love just sink in. Feel the love of the universe. Feel the love of this podcast. Just feel some love. I wish that I could be a comfort teddy bear for you, but unfortunately, it's with us at least in this form for a whole nother week. And I was jokingly yesterday saying, follow the little scorpion and climb under a rock. Well, that's not practical, number one. And number two, once you peek out from under the rock, boom, there it is, right? This thing is so connected in the sky, and it's fixed. It's not going anywhere. The thing I was trying to emphasize yesterday is just don't have an agenda to demand something, push something forward, have to have something in a certain time frame, etc., etc. Just let things breathe for the next several weeks. This is not fast. Don't try to make it fast, and don't push the universe. The sky is telling us something very important here right now, so let's just honor it. Now, how can we jump over to the positive side? And let's take these examples we mentioned yesterday. The positive side of when your power is out. The positive side of when the doctor tells you something totally unexpected. Positive side of a relationship that is not going the direction you wished it would. Let's go back and think about the energies at play. These are all in these fixed antecedent positions in the chart. In other words, dug in. You know how they say don't fight City Hall? Well, don't fight a fixed antecedent Grand Cross. There's one other thing. Let's bring the moon into this. The moon is applying to Saturn today, 6:15 p.m. Once it conjoins the moon, then it's applying to Neptune, and that happens early on Sunday morning, before Pluto goes into Capricorn. And of course, both of those lunar aspects are in Pisces. There's your answer. It's a spiritual weekend. I think of Saturn in this kind of light. If you're a little girl, there is nothing like your daddy's lap. If you're fortunate to have a dad like that, you know what I'm talking about. Saturn can be like that. Yes, it's the great malefic. Yes, it's Lord Karma. Yes, all of that. But it's also the father figure in the chart. And if you're a conscious, sentient being, and you crawl up in Saturn's lap, and you say, let's just talk about how I'm doing on my journey. Today you have the moon right on top of it. Picture the little girl with her little head on Daddy's shoulder. There's not much more of a tender picture on Earth. Risk doing that with Saturn. Risk asking the deeper questions. Risk allowing some of the answers. And maybe some of the things that have happened this week are trying to point you in that direction. Gently, but with some emphasis. Then as you're doing that work, the moon crosses over Saturn today and moves toward Neptune Sunday. Watch for the synchronicities. Watch for the signposts. Tune in to the intuition and the inspirations. You know, maybe just doing that work in and of itself will be enough to tap down some of the rest of these aspects. But I know, look, if someone you love is getting ready to have open heart surgery, these are big deals. So go to Source. Go to Source for your strength. Oh, big hug. Daddy's shoulder right here. See you back on Saturday for Ray Merriman, Monday for continuing the venture.